Right, good morning, Year 10. So, you are now going to be moving on to the fitness part of the BTEC, and that's going to involve the exam, which hopefully we're going to be doing in the summer term. So, we need to make sure that you are working on the components of fitness. Now, you've done some of this in your practical sport when you were linking the skills and the tactics and all that kind of stuff to the components. You were given some remote learning last week. To go through all of this, but now what we're going to do is we want to try and teach it a little bit more detail so that we know that you understand it better. Okay, so we are going to be giving you some questions to do. So the more questions you answer from this work this week and going into the next few weeks as well, the more familiar with the exam questions you're going to be, and the easier it will be for us to pick this back up when we see you again in school. Now, the questions that are in the red boxes are the easier questions. Okay, so we need to make sure that you can definitely answer these questions. If you can't do the red questions, you are going to struggle when it comes to exam time. And then the ones in the yellow box are a little bit harder. So you need to make sure that you can do these, because these are going to push your mark in the exam up to potentially a merit or distinction. And a merit would be worth a level 5, and a distinction is worth a level 7. So, first thing. In our red box, we've got 3 questions with a definition of a component of fitness. Yeah. So you're going to read through what's in the quotation marks, and very simply, you need to tell me what component of fitness that is that we are describing. So component 1, the ability of the cardiorespiratory system to supply nutrients and oxygen to working muscles for a long period of time. Nice and basic, 1 mark, and there are 3 of those to do. In the yellow box, we have got questions that are now 2 markers, so they're a little bit more complicated. So instead of maybe writing 1 word, we're going to need a sentence here. So for all of these questions in the yellow box, we are now linking the sport to the component of fitness. So first question, we can just have a look at that and go through it. Explain a sport that requires the athlete to have good aerobic endurance. So first off, we need to think about what our definition for aerobic endurance is, and then you've got to think about sports that use it, right? So think about that sport. Don't just write down the sport. You need to explain, you need to tell us why that sport is a good example of using that component of fitness. And you do the same for question 2 with agility, and then question 3 for flexibility. Now with the high jumper, we've given you the sport there. You don't have to come up with the sport. So what might be a good idea to do is to go on YouTube and have a look at a high jumper performing his jump. If you've never seen it before, it's going to give you a good idea. And I want you to have a look at that video and see what parts of the body need to be flexible in order to complete the movement. When you've done that, take a screenshot of what you've written down, either if you've done it on Microsoft Word or maybe you've written it on paper, and submit that through class charts, and your teacher is going to mark that for you. Okay, now after that, we are going to look at some 9-mark questions and answers. All right, so in your exam at the very end there is going to be a 9-mark question. Now the exam is out of 60, so this is quite a big chunk of your marks that is going to be dedicated to a longer answer. Here you're probably going to need to write maybe 3 or 4 paragraphs in order to get the most marks possible, right? And the easiest way to do this is to use a similar process to what you would use in English when you are doing your essays and your stories, where you would make a point, you'd explain it. Now obviously in English there's that extra E where we talk about evidence, but we kind of we'll leave that in PE, but we definitely need to make that link at the end. So we make a point, we explain it, and we link it. And that's the process we need to use when we are doing longer answers. Okay, so let's just go through the question. So the question at the top: a tennis player needs good levels of muscular strength and muscular endurance during a match. Give examples of how a tennis player needs 3 other physical components of fitness within a game. Now, from your work last week, you should know that there are 6 physical components of fitness, and we've worked on 2 of them there, muscular strength and muscular endurance. So we can cross those off, and now we know that there are 4 left to talk about. Okay? It's important that you do not talk about strength or muscular endurance, because they were given to you in the question and you would not get marks for them. Yeah. So we've given you the first one as an example for you to complete. So if we were using speed, a tennis player would need speed during a match. Right. So first off, there's the point. We've got the component of fitness. They need speed. We need to explain it. So by explaining it, we provide a definition. The definition of speed is how long it takes to travel a distance. Yeah. So that could be either you running, or it could be how hard you are hitting the tennis ball. Okay. So the link, where we now link it back to the sport, a tennis player requires speed as they move quicker to get to the ball. So they've got to run around the court to try and get to the ball. This is good if the opponent plays a shot close to the net, so they can get there quickly to return the shot, and it means their opponent does not win a point and the rally continues. So here I'm using 3 sentences to link the component to the sport. Okay, and what you can do is you can have a go at this question if you want. Okay, you can have a go at this one to finish it off using the other 2 components. We have 2 more questions for you to do as well to finish off today's lesson. So the first one, Joyce is an all-round cricketer. She can bat, bowl and field. She has good levels of agility and balance. Explain how 3 other specific components of skill-related fitness will help Joyce's cricket performance. Okay, so there are 5 skill-related components. We've given you 2 of them, agility and balance. You've got to talk about the other 3 skill-related components. And then finally, going back to high jump, which we looked at earlier in the lesson, Luca competes in the high jump. To perform well in this event, he needs high levels of strength and other specific components of physical fitness. Explain how these 3 other specific components will help Luca's performance in the high jump. Okay? So you've got the tennis one here, which you could have a go at if you want to. You've got the other 2 that you definitely do need to do and have a go at. And then once you've had a go at these, either write them down or typing them up, you send those through to us on class charts. And that's the end of lesson 1.